The Indian Miss World and the Rage of Muslims of the World. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. This story continues the story of the Arab sugar daddy and the beautiful Indian girl and the story of the Indian child bride and the old Arab husband. They were written in English and translated into Arabic by Dr. A. Ahmed. It is a love story narrated in 6 books. Book 3. From a Slum Girl to the Queen of the World Beauty. Copyright. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author except by a reviewer, who may quote brief passages from a review for printing in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. All characters in this novel are fictional and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is merely coincidental. Chapter 11. The aftermath of the biggest grisly crime of Bollywood. The beautiful Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan wished that the bullet had hit her head instead of her handsome lover. She could not believe her eyes when she saw the man who was in love with her and passionately kissing her had dropped dead in her arms and his blood ran all over her fancy dress. A demon has materialized out of nowhere and snatched her hero from her loving embrace. The sight of the red blood and white brain marrow of her lover and the blast of the gun sent her into a catatonic state. She started to tremble and mumble unintelligibly. Losing control, she went into shock and lost consciousness, slumping beside the corpse of her first lover. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself surrounded by a doctor and a couple of Indian nurses in some hospital. In the meantime, Javed Khan had been arrested and dragged away as a notorious criminal and thrown into the dungeon just like a dump truck emptying its garbage. This time, his influential father could do nothing to stop him from going to jail. He knows this crime most probably is going to send his son directly to the gallows. There will be no shortage of evidence for the court to examine or witnesses to testify. The murder took place in the perfect halide lighting of the set, in front of more than 1,000 high-profile personalities of Bollywood. Many directors, heroes, and heroines already have the crime stored in their cell phones and cameras. The hero that the villain, Javed Khan, had murdered in cold blood is the son of a former Bollywood heroine. His name is Sameer Krishna Khan. He has just started his career in the film industry. His mother and Mahmood Khan had a brief love affair. At that time, the mother was 21 years old. Mahmood Khan offered her a role in his movie with the condition that she should be his secret mistress. For the sake of fame and money, the mother agreed to sleep with Mahmood Khan. It did not last long. She broke up with him the moment she fell in love with a young Bollywood hero. She is a Hindu and her new lover is a Muslim. The young handsome hero that Javed Khan killed is their only child. The murder that punctuated the closing of the new movie resulted in a media blitz, which surrounded Aphrodite Khan. For the first time in Bollywood history, it is not the villain who is killed, but the main hero. This is no accidental death, but a grisly, premeditated, cold-blooded murder. The police charged him with first-degree murder, prompted by the testimonies of eyewitnesses. He had, in public, threatened the hero with death on many occasions for pursuing the beloved heroine. Javed Khan told some of the actors and producers of the movie that his father had already talked to Aphrodite's family about his proposal in marriage and the parents had accepted, when in actuality, Mahmood Khan had lied to his son to pacify him. He knew that his son would harass Aphrodite and follow her until he discovered her hiding place. He told Javed of his intention to talk to her parents and see if they were willing to give her hand in marriage to his son. Javed, as his vicious character, exaggerated and announced that the new Iranian heroine is engaged to him and soon they are to get married. He even told some of his like-minded friends that his marriage with the lovely teenage Muslim girl Aphrodite Khan is going to take place as soon as the release of her first movie. He also claimed that after marrying her he is not going to allow her to act in any movie. The reason given is he does not like any fucking film actor to hug or kiss or touch the body of his Muslim wife. In retrospect, Mahmood Khan had already received complaints at the start of the production that his son was lovesick and was harassing the lead actress, making things difficult for the acting crew. However, he did not need to be told that the hero and heroine of the movie had feelings for each other. In essence, Mahmoud is troubled only by the latter. He was afraid that Aphrodite might be encouraged by the main hero to ditch him and elope with her handsome lover. The only contingency plan he has is to send her off to another farmhouse and keep her in seclusion from the public. He can simply tell the media that Aphrodite Khan has returned to her family in Iran. His son's crime of mad love has now turned his life upside down and changed everything. He can neither hide her address nor send her to another location. The Mumbai police and the Bollywood media frequent her apartment, and Mahmood Khan has no recourse but to grant Aphrodite Khan her freedom. He removed all his guards and allowed her to stay by herself. He stopped visiting her apartment at night. He communicated to her only by phone. Afraid that the phone might be tapped, he started talking to her in a friendly tone. His threatening behavior ceased completely. This is at least a temporary relief for the Bollywood heroine, for she cried many hours, and it took many days for her to come to terms with the shock of losing her first true love right in front of her eyes. The media people are shocked by the way the Iranian heroine talks and behaves. Unlike her peers, she is neither cultured nor articulate, but her childlike innocence captured the hearts and minds of those who came into contact with her. They succumbed to her simple charm of innocence, and that innocence itself evoked maternal or paternal instincts in those around her. Her unmatchable beauty makes the rest simply fall in love with her. When her interviews were aired, she became the new iconic girl next door. She is considered by the world of Bollywood and the public at large as the most sincere and innocent girl that has ever acted in an Indian movie. There is great demand from the public and pressure from Bollywood for the release of her first movie. One female film director approached her and offered her a leading role in her upcoming movie. While the media people are crowding around the apartment building of his second Muslim wife, Aphrodite Khan, her evil kidnapper and captor Mahmood Khan is busy trying to figure a way to stop his only son from going to the gallows. He conducted many secret meetings with the top guns in the police department. He is advised that the only way to save the life of his son would be to find some qualified doctors and bribe them so that they can declare his son mentally unsound. So, Mahmood Khan paid crores and crores of rupees as bribes to doctors and top police officers. While he is striving hard to save his son, Mahmood Khan receives another phone call from his former blackmailer. The caller claimed to be the same person who had called him previously about his imprisonment and abuse of the Iranian heroine at his farmhouse. This time, the blackmailer made two demands. His first demand is that Mahmood Khan release the Iranian girl and allow her to return to her family in Tehran, and the second demand is that he must deposit 20 crores of rupees in the same foreign account, which he had given to him earlier. Then, the caller repeated his threats that if Mahmood Khan did not comply, copies of his criminal videos would be sent to the police and his wife. Instead of meeting his demands, this time Mahmood shouted at the caller and told him to go to hell and do with those fucking videos whatever you like to do. He said that he felt that the caller had scammed him before by taking his money without sending him all the agreed upon videos. That is his frame of mind when he ended the phone call by saying, "Go ahead and send your copies to the Mumbai Police Authority and my wife, or shove them in your dirty ass." To keep his image in Bollywood and continue to win the favor of his audience, Mahmood Khan released the new movie of the Iranian heroine. The new movie surpassed the record of the previous blockbuster, Mother India, which was translated in Arabic as "For the Sake of My Sons." The new Iranian heroine, the beautiful Aphrodite, and her true love story within the love story of the movie made everyone want to watch the movie. The two opposing characters, the hero and the villain who loved her and fought against each other in the movie, are the same people who loved her in real life. The ending of the script is the only fictional thing. It showed the hero killing the villain and kissing his lover. Everyone who watched the movie already knew the actual ending. At the ending credits, Mahmood included words of condolence to the deceased and apologies to the immediate family for the way his life was taken. In movie theaters across India, that additional part of the script caused many an eye to shed hot tears. Busy with trying to save his son from the hangman's noose, Mahmood Khan is about to find out that his blackmailer is not someone to trifle with at all. As if he did not have enough turmoil in his life, his first Muslim wife received a copy of the video. It is the same one that he had screened earlier, showing the sadistic rape of the Iranian heroine. The video is accompanied by a grimly worded warning. The message is short and to the point. If Mahmoud fails to release the Iranian girl, who is imprisoned in an apartment on the 17th floor of his bandstand building, and deposit 20 crores in the account specified, the video will now be sent to the Mumbai police and Stink News TV. He is given 2 weeks to comply. The letter ended with a warning that his foreign female captive, the Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan, is not to be harmed in any way, or the consequences will be disastrous. Mrs. Khan could not believe her eyes and ears when she watched the video. She does not know that her husband is a cruel sadist and sexually perverted man until that point. She only knows that he is not interested in having sex with her. She also admittedly knew that he was obsessed with young teenage girls, given the number of scandals following him. But the video revealed a very dark and ugly side of him. Before confronting her husband, she decided to get rid of that accursed Iranian whore who caused her son to kill someone without hesitation and sent him to jail forever. Her anger toward Aphrodite Khan multiplied when she watched the disgraceful video. The first thing Mrs. Khan has decided to do is to storm over to Aphrodite's apartment. She took 2 of her husband's bodyguards along with her. They are both thugs and notorious murderers, aptly suited to the job she has in mind. When Aphrodite opened the door, the outraged woman forced her way inside the apartment, followed by her 2 thugs. At first, she questioned Aphrodite about her secret love affair with her husband, telling her about the video that showed their affair in detail. Aphrodite does not deny the video, but told Mrs. Khan that she was not a willing participant in that sadistic rape. She explained that she had been kidnapped by her husband's men, imprisoned in his farmhouse for many months, and forced into a secret Islamic marriage as his Muslim wife number 2, where she was eventually subjected to a cruel sexual relationship. Mrs. Khan refused to believe her and told her to leave the apartment immediately. She threatened that if she returned, her men would beat her to death. Aphrodite told her that she has no relatives in India, adding that she has no place to go. Mrs. Khan, hearing enough, took hold of her hand and dragged her out of her husband's apartment. Before she kicked her out, she stripped off all her jewelry and clothes and sent her out of the apartment without anything except the clothes on her back. She even took her watch from her hand. Mrs. Khan did not let go of Aphrodite's arm until she escorted her out of the building's gate. At the gate, the angry woman took off her shoe and started battering Aphrodite. Blows rained on her head, shoulders, and back. She even spits on her face several times and calls her many bad words in Hindi. She called her Tawaif, which means a whore. After beating and kicking her husband's Tawaif, Mrs. Khan went directly to her husband and confronted him about his shameful love affair. At first, Mahmoud Khan denied having an affair with his latest female star. He even denied marrying her as a second Muslim wife. When confronted with the video, he began to shake from head to foot. He naturally assumed that the blackmailer had carried out his threat and sent a copy to the police as well. His life as he knew it is over as far as he is concerned. He can see no other way out except suicide. He fell on his knees and began to cry, and even threatened to end his life by jumping from the 17th floor and falling on his neck. His wife has rescued him from the trouble of killing himself. She told him that the blackmailer wanted 200 million rupees or otherwise he would send a copy of the dangerous video to the police. The evil man felt as if he was drowning in deep water, and his wife had stretched out her hand to save his life. He went again on his knees and begged her to forgive him, and he promised that he would never touch another woman again except her. The wife refused to forgive him until he agreed to swear on the Holy Quran, invoking his exalted Allah and his gracious Prophet Muhammad and promising never to cheat on her again. She said that was not enough until the repented husband agreed to have sex with her right there on her king bed. Then and only then, after the deserted first Muslim wife got fucked after many years, the ugly old witch has become appeased and accepted the apology and repentance of her cheating husband. That done, his happy wife forgave him. Wasting no time, they both hurried to the State Bank of India and transferred the required 20 crores of rupees in the account of the blackmailer. Chapter 12. The New Dirty Prostitute of Bollywood. For the first time after 11 years of kidnap, rape, and captivity, the innocent Indian slum girl Ifat Khan, who has been renamed Aphrodite Khan, has become without an evil master or a golden cage. Her freedom has come at the most inopportune time. She has been rendered incapable of taking care of herself by her two evil captors. She is homeless and yet one of the richest 19-year-old girls in Mumbai history. Even so, she has nothing except the dress on her back and the shoes on her feet. She has no money, no food, no shelter, and she knows no one or any place in Mumbai to go to. She does not know any relatives in India, Iran, Eritrea, or Saudi Arabia. She has no passport or any kind of identification or official papers to prove who she is. Mahmood Khan's wife, after kicking her out, had told her two bodyguards or thugs to throw out everything found in the apartment of the Iranian whore into the garbage container. She also informed the security guards to prevent her from entering her apartment or call the cops on her if she dared to step her dirty feet again in front of her husband's building. If Aphrodite wants to go to the Abu Dhabi International Bank to withdraw some money from her billions of rupees, she cannot be able to prove her claim to the huge fortune that she inherited from her deceased Saudi husband. Aphrodite also does not know about the cruel and painful murder of her evil husband inside his dungeon. She is thinking that the evil old monster is still alive and looking for her. If she knew that he had been brutally murdered by the Indian hero who courageously implemented vigilante justice, she might have wished for his resurrection time and again, and for him to be murdered painfully 100 times over. In a few months, the extremely beautiful heroine Aphrodite rocketed to the apex of the Bollywood film industry, and all of a sudden she fell back down to the sewers. She has become a street girl. She has been transformed from the Iranian heroine to the street whore or the tawaif of Bollywood. In her uncontrollable rage, Mrs. Khan called her a tawaif, and that would soon become her new title. The angry woman dragged Aphrodite by the hand to the gate of the building, spit in her face, and called her in Hindi tawaif, or the prostitute. Mrs. Khan's uncontrollable rage blinded her and made her not see who was watching her and who was photographing her outrageous action against the so-called whore of her cheating husband. In Bollywood, scandals carry far more weight than success, as is the case in Hollywood. Above all, sex scandals draw the biggest audiences among the fans of an industry that is as pervasive and inspiring as any major religion. Besides the many religions, India has two other religions that are followed by every Indian: Bollywood and cricket. In a nutshell, Bollywood film stars, directors, and their millions of fans love nothing and enjoy nothing more than a sex scandal. That day, many in the media and thousands of fans saw Mrs. Khan when she dragged the Iranian heroine out of her husband's building, spit in her face, and called her a tawaif. In Mumbai, every hero and every heroine has thousands of fans standing day and night in front of their houses. A cult following among urban youth, boys and girls can wait idly by for hours to get a mere glimpse of their hero or heroine. With her first movie, Aphrodite Khan is now the superstar of choice, with her draw factor making her new fans switch loyalties. Among those present were the scandal hounds that are waiting for scraps of information that would precede the scandal magazines. They are always on the lookout for a visit by a film director or a hero signaling a new movie or a new sex affair. Many times, the story gets twisted and takes on a life of its own. Mrs. Khan's visit to the Iranian heroine gave the Bollywood media no reason to use their imagination or create fanciful stories. Mrs. Khan had given them more than they could ever hope for. They saw with their eyes and heard with their ears the apparent enmity between the beautiful Iranian heroine and the ugly wife of the greatest movie director, Mrs. Khan. Immediately, they jumped to the conclusion that Mrs. Khan had caught the new Indo-Iranian heroine red-handed committing adultery with her husband in bed, and that is obviously why she dragged her out of the building, clutching her by her hand, spitting in her face, and beating her with her shoe. Cameras clicked incessantly during the entire episode as she kicked her out and called her the dirty prostitute. The moment Mrs. Khan and her two thugs withdrew, the crowd began to throng around Aphrodite and encircle her. Hundreds of media people showered her with questions. Fans reached out to touch her body. Aphrodite, unaccustomed to crowds and unskilled in dealing with the media, felt as if she was surrounded by demons trying to possess her soul. She began to scream and call for help. She was petrified that the crowd of human fans might devour her and cut her up into pieces, and she would die at their hands or else get gang-raped in broad daylight. If the police officers had not rescued her at the right time, Aphrodite Khan might have been torn into small parts by her fans. When the police arrived, pieces of her clothing were already torn by the hands of her crazy fans. She would have been stripped bare naked and raped in broad daylight if she had not been saved just in the nick of time. Nonetheless, her upper camise had been torn asunder, and her bra was snatched from her breasts. Even her salwar had been pulled down until it reached halfway, and her buttocks and her red underwear were seen by many of the fans and overeager media girls. One police officer snatched 3 dupattas from the nameless mass and covered the exposed parts of Aphrodite's naked body. Although the girls wearing them did not want to let go of their dupattas, the angry police officer took them by force. Without a dupatta, an Indian girl feels as if her breasts are bare and exposed. Although her breasts will be fully covered by her bra, inner dress, and outer camise, the ubiquitous dupatta is meant to also conceal the outline of the breasts. Conservative Indian girls do not want anyone to see how small their boobs like lemons or apples, how large like pomegranates or watermelons their boobs are, or even how sexy their breasts are. That day, many caught a glimpse of Aphrodite's bra-clad breasts and her red underwear. This public exposure is going to be the biggest thing to hit the gossip articles. Aphrodite Khan owed her rescue to 15 police officers and has been taken into protective custody. She is not under arrest. The police questioned her and concluded the matter to be a domestic dispute between her and Mrs. Khan and, at most, an unconfirmed sex scandal. There is no evidence of misconduct linking Aphrodite Khan to her first movie director. That is the official stand. The Bollywood media has a whole different twist to it. The local newspapers couldn't wait the next morning to write many articles concerning the incident surrounding the new film actress and the wife of her director. The top magazine editions showcased pictures of the Iranian heroine on their front covers. It is almost as if all the articles are written by a single writer, all of which are titled, "The Tawaif of Bollywood." The sex scandal is discussed on many TV channels. Many media girls appeared in interviews and falsely claimed to have seen the reaction of the greatest film director Mahmood Khan when his Muslim wife confronted him about his infidelity. His extremely angry wife punched him in the face, and he fell to his knees, while begging her for her forgiveness. They also said they saw the Iranian heroine half-naked when she was dragged by Mrs. Khan from the bed of her cheating husband, and her bodyguards and security kicked her out of the building and threw her on the street with nothing on her body except her pink bra and red underwear only. She even spat on her face many times and called her the dirty prostitute of Bollywood. Of course, Mrs. Khan strongly denied all those false allegations. She said in an interview that she assaulted the new film actress and called her the dirty tawaif of Bollywood because she had cheated on her imprisoned son Javed. She claimed that her son had been promised in marriage to the Iranian girl. According to her, Aphrodite made her son believe that she was in love with him and that she is going to marry him as soon as she completed shooting her first movie. But sadly, her son found out that his Muslim fiancée Aphrodite is cheating on him and sleeping with the Hindu actor who played the hero in the new movie, and it was too much for him to handle. She shrewdly explained how her son is so much in love with the beautiful Iranian film actress to the point of worshipping her. Therefore, he could not control himself when he saw his fiancée shamelessly kissing and seducing the hero at the end of the film. For that reason, he used his gun, which he has a license to carry, and killed the man she was using to make him jealous. Mrs. Khan said that she wished her son had killed the evil whore Aphrodite instead of killing an innocent young man. Once again, she called the Iranian heroine the dirty tawaif of Bollywood. Mahmood Khan appeared in a different interview and confirmed his wife's fabricated story. He claimed that the Iranian Muslim girl Aphrodite Khan made the promise of marriage to his son in front of him. Moreover, he said that he contacted the family of his new actress and informed them about the love affair of their daughter and his son. The Muslim parents welcomed the good news and agreed for the Islamic nikah or marriage to take place as soon as possible. For that reason, he and his son were waiting for the movie to finish so that they could fly with Aphrodite to Iran, meet with her parents, have an official meeting about the betrothal, and fix the date for the marriage in Mumbai. Unfortunately, the secret affair of Aphrodite and the late film actor Samir brought a sad and tragic ending to all the love his son had to give. At the end of the interview, Mahmood Khan said that he was going to sue the cheater girl and take Aphrodite Khan to the court of law for cheating on his good son and driving him to madness and murder. Then he concluded that his imprisoned son must be considered by the medical doctors, the police of Mumbai, and the criminal court as the mad lover Kais who became crazy of the obsession of love because his beloved lover Layla had been given by her father in marriage to another man instead of him. Chapter 13. The Good Samaritan Mrs. Rani Krishna. The Iranian heroine was taken into police custody for her own protection. While there, the Mumbai police tried to charge her with fewer offenses like the charge of indecent sexual exposure of her nude body in a public place. But some police officers said they were there when the Iranian heroine was attacked by some of her male fans who tried to strip her naked and gang rape her in broad daylight, but she got rescued by them. As the wheels of justice turned, Aphrodite Khan remained in a police lockup until a female film director from Bollywood came and bailed her out. The kind female director decides to keep her at her house until Aphrodite can make up her mind whether she likes to return to her family in Iran or if she prefers to stay permanently in India and hopefully continue her acting career. When the so-called dirty Tawaif of Bollywood was released from police custody, 10 film directors approached her and offered her leading roles in their upcoming movies. Aphrodite knows she has no place or family to go to in Mumbai or Tehran. Therefore, she accepted all the offers that were presented to her. No new film actress before or since has ever been offered so many parts in so many movies, nor had ever received the sheer volume of offers thrown at the feet of this Greek goddess of love Aphrodite. It created a great deal of jealousy and envy among the other actresses. When news of this reached Mrs. Khan, she decided to stop it by any means possible. She wants Aphrodite to be kicked out of Indian soil, the sooner the better. She approached a high-ranking police officer and offered to pay him 5 million Indian rupees if he can charge the Iranian slut with any breach of India's immigration law and get her deported permanently to Iran. The first step of the corrupt police officer's search began at the Mumbai International Airport. He contacted the airport authority and inquired about the kind of visa the Iranian heroine presented upon her arrival in Mumbai. The airport authority told him that they had no record of her arrival at the Mumbai International Airport. They added they had no idea through which airport she had entered the country. The second step the inspector takes is visiting the movie female star in the flesh and asking her to tell him exactly which airport she landed at upon her arrival in India. He was surprised when she told him she flew from Tehran on an Iranian plane to the Mumbai International Airport. Then, he asked her to show him her passport. She told him that Mahmood Khan had taken her passport. The police inspector went to the evil man and asked him to produce the passport of the Iranian girl who acted in his latest movie. Mahmood Khan denied that he had taken her passport from her. On the final and third step in his investigation, the corrupt police inspector placed the Iranian heroine under arrest for entering the country illegally. It is breaking news when the Mumbai police announced that the Iranian heroine had no passport and there was no record of her arrival at the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. The police cannot use harsh interrogation methods to interrogate Aphrodite because she is considered to be a high-profile film star. Nonetheless, she has to be kept under arrest until she can produce her passport and prove how she arrived in India. Aphrodite continued to insist she had come to India using the Mumbai International Airport and her passport had been taken by Mahmood Khan. In an interview, the new Mumbai police commissioner said that if the Iranian heroine cannot produce her passport or prove how she entered the country, she will be prosecuted and, if found guilty, jailed, and after serving her sentence, she must be deported to Iran. Her name has to be blacklisted, and she will not be allowed to return to India again. The same female film director who had bailed the Iranian heroine out of jail the first time approached the Mumbai Police Authority and bailed her out again. She paid half a crore of rupees for her bail. The female film director who bailed Aphrodite out of jail twice is a wealthy Hindu woman. She is called Rani Krishna. She is a former Bollywood heroine. She requested Aphrodite tell her exactly and truthfully how she came to know Mahmood Khan and why he took away her Indian passport. Aphrodite trusted Rani and narrated to her in detail her sad story from the time she left India with her mother Rayhana Khan when she was 7 years old until she returned back to her country to visit her 80-year-old Saudi husband who was in jail. After that, she told her how Mahmood Khan's men kidnapped her from in front of her hotel in Bombay Central, took her to his palace and his farmhouse, and imprisoned her for many months. She was forced into a secret Islamic marriage and sex against her wish. She is crying while she recounts how she was beaten up, slapped, smacked on her naked body, and flogged by the brutal sadistic human animal every time he had sex with her. Rani is weeping continuously while she hears all the horrifying details. She encouraged Aphrodite to tell the police what the sex-deviant Mahmood Khan had done to her while he was keeping her captive as his sex female slave. She informed her that according to Indian law, no person can be forced to marry another person against his or her wish. The female director Rani Krishna concluded that in the sight of the law Aphrodite's second Islamic marriage to that evil man Mahmood Khan is illegal and therefore it is a crime punishable by the law. At first, Aphrodite is scared to inform the Indian police about her true identity. She is still controlled by the fear that her second wicked captor had instilled in her, believing her Saudi husband would find her and kill her. Rani told her that her Saudi husband was murdered by another inmate inside the Arthur Road jail a day before his final trial. Moreover, she assured her that she would be considered a victim rather than a criminal by the Mumbai police. Rani Krishna believed in every word the Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan told her because she too used to be a secret mistress of Mahmood Khan. She agreed to sleep with him when she was 21 years old. She did so because he tempted her with a leading role in one of his movies. Howbeit, after she found a young handsome hero and fell in love with him, she broke up with Mahmood Khan. Her new lover was a Muslim man too. She married him although retaining her Hindu faith. After acting in her first movie directed by Mahmood Khan, Rani acted as a heroine in a few other movies with various other directors. But she was not as successful as some of the other Indian heroines of her time. She stopped acting, became a director, and began to produce her own movies. Rani had a son from her first marriage to her Muslim husband. Her marriage did not last long. After her son was born, her Muslim husband began to cheat on her. When she found out that her husband was cheating on her, Rani divorced him, dedicating her time and resources to bringing up her only beloved son as best she could. Later on, Rani introduced her son to the film industry when he completed grade 12. When he was 18 years old, her son acted in a movie directed by her. After that, he acted as a hero in a couple of movies produced by other directors. All three of his movies were successful. He gained fame and a great name in Bollywood. When he was 25 years old, Mahmood Khan offered him a leading role in his new movie. His movie with the greatest Bollywood director is a big hit too. Unfortunately, it is the last movie that Rani's son acted in. At the end of his fourth movie, he was killed by the evil son of Mahmood Khan. Rani Krishna revealed to Aphrodite Khan that the actor who was killed by Javed Khan was her beloved son. She told her further that her son, before he was killed, confessed to her that he had fallen in love with the Iranian girl with whom he is acting in his fourth movie. He also told her that the new actress fell in love with him too. But he said to his mother he has not yet revealed his love to his beloved girlfriend. Aphrodite wept bitterly when she came to know that the mother of the only man she had ever loved in her life was the same woman who came to the jail, bailed her out twice, and sheltered her. Rani said to Aphrodite that she looks at her as if she is her real daughter-in-law, even though her son did not live until the two of them could get married. Aphrodite also said to Rani that she considered her to be her true mother-in-law, even though she could not be able to marry her son whom she loves with every iota in her body. Chapter 14. The biggest sex scandal and crime in Bollywood. Instead of going directly to the police of Mumbai, the kind mother Rani Krishna took her new friend, who she considered to be just like her adopted daughter or daughter-in-law, to a good lawyer and asked him to take her case. The lawyer is a Hindu. He showed great interest in the lawsuit. He considered it the biggest sex scandal and crime that has ever happened in the history of Bollywood. After appointing a lawyer, Rani approached Stink News TV and requested a special news interview with the Iranian heroine. She told them that Aphrodite Khan is a victim of kidnap and rape. Howbeit, she said that Aphrodite decided not to reveal who had kidnapped and brutally beaten and raped her except on their live TV show. The Stink News interrupted its regularly scheduled programs and gave the Iranian heroine free access and time to tell the public her tragic story of kidnap and rape. Aphrodite Khan surprised her viewers when she began her story by saying that she was born and brought up in a very poor Muslim family in Mumbai. According to the false story of Mahmood Khan, Aphrodite Khan was born and raised in Iran. Aphrodite continued to say that when she was born, her family used to live in a very poor slum area in Dharavi. Her mother is known as Rayhana Khan and her father is called Rafi Khan. Her real name is not Aphrodite. She had been named by her parents Ifat. She has 5 brothers younger than her. She lost her father when she was a very small girl. Her mother used to work as a maidservant in rich people's houses. When she was 7 years old, her mother got a maidservant visa to Saudi Arabia. Her mother left her 5 brothers with her grandmother and took her along with her to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. When they reached Jeddah City, her mother was taken to jail and stoned to death. Aphrodite said that she did not know why the police in Saudi Arabia killed her mother. She was told by the Saudi man who sponsored them that her mother was stoned to death because she had done some very bad things. The same Saudi man who sponsored them took her to Eritrea and married her. At the time of their marriage, she was 7 years old and her Saudi husband was 70 years old. Aphrodite choked up while she is narrating the cruel way she was raped by the old Saudi when she was still yet a child. She said that she was taken to the hospital due to excessive bleeding when the old Saudi raped her. She suffered a lot under his cruel treatment. He used to beat her up for any reason or no reason. Many times, he tied her up and beat her like an animal. He always kept a long whip hanging on the wall in their bedroom, and whenever she disobeyed or displeased him, he flogged her mercilessly until sometimes she lost her consciousness. She stayed with him for 3 years in Asmara before the Eritrean police came and sent her back to Saudi Arabia. The police did not tell her anything except that she was supposed to return to Jeddah City. At that time, she was 11 years old. She was pregnant by the time she was 11. When she arrived in Jeddah, she was kept for a few days inside a jail with other female suspects and convicted women prisoners. The old Saudi came and took her from jail and kept her in his house. Some American people tried to get her divorced from her Saudi husband, but the Jeddah Sharia court rejected their lawsuit. After the court ruled in his favor, her Saudi husband took her to Iran. In Tehran, he bought a new house, kept her prisoner, and wouldn't let her go outside from the time she arrived. After she arrived in Tehran, she delivered her baby. The baby came out of her womb with much difficulty, but died shortly after it was born. The old Saudi man continued to beat and rape her. She lived with him in Iran for 7 years. She suffered so much at his hands during those very dark years and thought she would live this way for the rest of her life and didn't know any other way to live. For 10 years, she was imprisoned, beaten, and raped by her cruel Saudi husband. After that, Aphrodite began to tell how she came to be back in India. When she mentioned that she came to visit her Saudi husband at Arthur Road Jail, her viewers immediately began to connect the dots. They understood that she is speaking about the old Saudi pedophile who had kidnapped and raped the 11-year-old Hyderabadi girl, Amina Hyder Ali. Then, Aphrodite mentioned her husband's name and what she knew about why he had come to be in jail and was finally murdered by one of his inmates. Her viewers already knew that the great Mumbai martyr and hero, the avatar of the Hindus' warrior god, Krishna, the late Mr. Joseph Vargas, murdered her 80-year-old Saudi husband when he administrated the vigilante justice. They thanked the gods for setting her free from her captivity and the tyranny of that despicable Muslim pedophile who kidnapped her when she was only a child of 7 years old and imprisoned, beaten, and raped her for 10 years. Aphrodite's story from this point on has many Bollywood film stars, actresses, and producers who are watching the open show from their homes standing on their feet. When she began to tell her second tragic story of kidnap and rape, many of her viewers put their hands over their mouths and heads in shock. They are in a stupor as she is pouring out the details of being kidnapped from in front of her hotel at Bombay Central by the men of the film director, Mahmood Khan. She continued to say that she was taken to his farmhouse and imprisoned there against her wishes. She narrated how she was blackmailed by her captor and forced into a secret Islamic marriage with him. He married her as his second Muslim wife. He believed his religion allowed him to marry 4 women at the same time. She is weeping while she is speaking. She spoke openly and provided many details of how he had beaten her up and raped her in a very cruel and painful way. She mentioned that he used to flog her naked body with a whip. He also used to slap her in the face and hit her in the head with his fists. He had even bitten her shoulders, violently grappled her breasts, and bit her nipples. Sometimes, he used to squeeze her nipples with his fingers and bite with his teeth until they bled. Very often, he scratched her back with his nails to watch her bleed. He often pulled her long hair out until she fainted. He used to twist her arms behind her back and bite her lips until she suffocated. Aphrodite Khan does not mention in the open show how she and her teacher had blackmailed Mahmood Khan. Rani Krishna told her she shouldn't mention that because she might run into trouble with Indian law, which forbids blackmailing whatever the reason behind it. She concluded her story by saying that her captor decided to use her in his movies. He knew that she would not run away from him because he was blackmailing her by saying her released Saudi husband was looking for her to catch and kill her because she ran away from him and married another man. Additionally, he frightened her that the Mumbai police were looking for her involvement in some crimes. After she finished her open show on Stink News TV, the Mumbai police raided the mansion of Mahmood Khan in the Juhu area. They arrested him under the charges of kidnapping, imprisoning, raping, and torturing the Iranian heroine, Aphrodite Khan. All Mumbai and Bollywood media houses covered and published the same captivating news story the following day, the biggest sex scandal and crime in Bollywood. Chapter 15. The Story of the Lying Genie. When the Mumbai police interrogated Mahmood Khan, he categorically denied every word the Iranian heroine had said about him. He fabricated a different story. He admitted to meeting Aphrodite Khan for the first time in front of Eros Theatre when he went to inaugurate his latest movie, The International Gonda. He said he could not deny that her marvelous beauty held his attention. He said she was the one who introduced herself to him as Aphrodite Khan and asked him to give her a chance to act in one of his movies. She was the one who told him that she is a victim of kidnap and rape and she wants him to rescue her. She said her greedy Muslim parents, for the sake of the $25,000 a wealthy Saudi business tycoon paid as her dowry, agreed to give her an Islamic child marriage to a 70-year-old geezer when she was a child of 7. The lying genie Mahmood Satan Khan said Aphrodite asked him to help her run away from her cruel Saudi husband. She said that she did not want to return to Tehran and continue to live with her abusive Arab husband. Mahmood Khan went on to say that he agreed to help her. Aphrodite asked him to shelter her because she was new in Mumbai and knew no one in the city. She said further that she has no money or relatives. Mahmood admitted that he kept her in his house and provided her with all the necessities of life. He even appointed a private tutor to teach her how to read and write in Hindi and English. He did this because she told him that she was illiterate and had never been to school in all her life. He said further Aphrodite informed him that her Saudi husband never allowed her to go to school while she was living under his roof. She also said her bad Muslim parents removed her from grade 2 and married her to the wicked old geezer. She said she went for 1.5 years to an all-girls school in Tehran, which taught her nothing except a rudimentary knowledge of the Persian language. Mahmood Khan denied that he had kept Aphrodite Khan for over a year at his opulent mansion in his farmhouse. He said he had put her up in an apartment on the 17th floor of his beautiful building at Band Stand in Bandara. He strongly denied that he had any sexual contact with her. He said further that his son Javed Khan fell in love with her on the first day he saw her. Aphrodite Khan herself said to him she fell in love with his son and promised to marry him after acting in her first movie. When she met the handsome hero Samir Krishna Khan in his latest movie and began to play with him the role of the leading heroine, she left his son and fell in love with her good-looking co-star. Mahmood Khan said to the police that he regretted that he had agreed to help Aphrodite escape from her evil Saudi husband. Instead of thanking him for the lifetime opportunity he had given her in Bollywood and helping her to run away from her abusive old husband, Aphrodite accused him of kidnapping and raping her. Mahmood told the police that the woman behind that malicious accusation was the Hindu film female director who bailed her out of jail twice and sheltered her. He said he strongly believed that Rani Krishna wanted revenge for the murder of her only son, Samir Krishna Khan. He is Aphrodite's first lover and the son of Rani Krishna, who was murdered by Javed Khan. His birth name was Samir Khan. After Rani broke up with her Muslim husband, she changed the last name of her son to Samir Krishna. In any case, the Bollywood media preferred to call him Samir Krishna Khan. In real life, in Indian society, Krishna and Khan, like fire and water or God and Satan, can never sit side by side in anyone's name. Furthermore, Mahmood Khan informed the Mumbai police that the Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan told his Muslim wife that her Saudi husband was a very cruel man. She related that his idea of sex had to involve pain. According to her story, her Saudi husband always had sex with her while flogging her naked body with a long whip, slapping her in the face, beating her head with his fists, biting her on her shoulders, smacking her on the buttocks, and squeezing her breasts. He also enjoyed sex by biting the nibbles of her boobs, pulling out her long hair, and scratching her back with his nails until she bled. Additionally, she told them that her Arab husband, like most Arab men, liked sodomizing young boys and women. He always forced her to have anal sex with him, which is very painful. She also mentioned that her husband used to tie her up with ropes and beat her for any and every reason whatsoever. During his police interrogation, Mahmood Khan claimed that the Iranian girl Aphrodite Khan showed his wife her back, her private parts, and her boobs the marks and scars from the beatings and the physical abuses she received from her evil Saudi husband. For these reasons, he and his wife decided to offer her shelter to help her escape that cruel and abusive old man. Mahmood Khan concluded his false statement by saying, "Aphrodite Khan has been brainwashed and this whole insane matter has been instigated by none other than the Hindu woman Rani Krishna. Rani blamed me for the murder of her only son on my entire family." Aphrodite's mad love for Samir Khan has caused her to hate the murder of her lover and his parents, and that's why she conspired with his mother to come up with these preposterous accusations. And what's more, Aphrodite's hatred towards my family only increased when my wife kicked her out of the apartment building and called her a dirty waif of Bollywood. With reasonable doubt cast upon the alleged victim, Mahmood Khan has been granted bail. It is his wife who posted bail 24 hours after he was arrested. Aphrodite Khan learned from her lawyer that her complaint against Mahmood Khan might not lead to his conviction without substantial evidence. It would be her word against his. The burden of proof lay on her. She needs to show undeniable proof of kidnap, imprisonment, and rape by Mahmood Khan and his cohorts. There is also the threat, according to her lawyer, of a countersuit if she fails to prove her allegations. She is looking at defamation and assassination of character lawsuits and charges stemming from her filing false claims and lying to the police. If convicted, she will be looking at a jail term of 6 to 12 months. As her lawyer has predicted, Aphrodite's case against Mahmood Khan is thrown out due to insufficient evidence. Mahmood's lawyers were successful in raising reasonable doubt, so it boiled down to her testimony. Mahmood's statements are made stronger by his wife's sworn testimony under oath that she had indeed heard Aphrodite Khan narrating her sad story in the presence of her husband. She confirmed that she witnessed the marks and scars on her naked body resulting from beatings and abuse. So, the court could not convict Mahmood Khan because his wife backed up his statements, swearing on her holy Quran that all she said was true. All the Muslim menservants, maidservants, Guards and other workers denied that they had ever seen Aphrodite Khan in the farmhouse, city houses, or even hotels of Mahmud Khan. Besides that, the Mumbai police searched all the houses and properties of Mahmud Khan for pieces of evidence of her imprisonment, but they could not find a single iota of proof. When the Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan lost her case against the greatest film director Mahmud Khan, her reputation in Bollywood was seriously damaged and her name began to stink in shame. She has been also expected to lose the respect of all her fans. All 10 of the film directors who signed movie contracts with her canceled their contracts with her. The Bollywood media wrote very nasty articles about her and accused her of being a selfish, opportunistic, and wicked girl. They called her the girl who rewarded evil for good. The damage that has been done to her surpassed that which had been done to her when Mrs. Khan kicked out of her apartment and called her the dirty waif of Bollywood. Even her kind mother Rani Krishna concluded that Aphrodite Khan's career in Bollywood had come to an end. Even so, Rani continued to stand by her side and promised never to forsake her or kick her out of her house. The Hindu woman Rani Krishna knows that the teenage Muslim girl Aphrodite Khan has no one in the entire world to take care of her. She also understood that Aphrodite's mind is not yet developed into a 19-year-old girl who can look after herself. She concluded that if she were to send her out of her house, Aphrodite would go directly to the streets and become a prostitute or kill herself. She, better than anyone else, also knows for a fact that the lonely Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan has become homeless and without money. In addition to all these calamities, Aphrodite Khan found herself facing two major legal issues. Firstly, she has to prove her claim that she is a naturalized Indian citizen. Secondly, Mahmud Khan lost no time in lodging a complaint against her and accusing her of maliciously defaming him. In addition to all these calamities, Aphrodite Khan found herself facing two major legal issues. Firstly, she has to prove her claim that she is a naturalized Indian citizen. Secondly, Mahmud Khan lost no time in lodging a complaint against her and accusing her of maliciously defaming him. Of course, he paid big bribes to some top police officers and appointed the most crooked lawyers in town. For Aphrodite Khan to prove that she is indeed Ifat Khan, who left Mumbai with her mother Rayhana Khan many years ago, she has to do one of three things. 1. She has to bring at least one of her closest relatives to testify in a court of law that he or she knew her and her family when she used to live in Mumbai 12 years ago. 2. She has to produce her ration card. Ration cards are more important than citizenship in India. They entitle the card holder to subsidized food. There are three types of ration cards. 1. Antyodaya ration cards, which are issued to the poorest of the poor. 2. Below the poverty line ration cards. And 3. Above the poverty line ration cards. Aphrodite's claim that she was a resident of a slum area called Dharavi means that she would be entitled to the all-important Antyodaya ration card. The last thing she could do to prove her Indian citizenship was to declare her address and produce neighbors who were acquainted with her family. The third option is out of the question because Mumbai police had already investigated the address of the girl, Ifat Khan, who came to visit her imprisoned Saudi husband. The investigation revealed that the girl provided a fake address. The management and the residents of Vakola colony denied the existence of a Muslim mother by the name of Rayhana Khan and her Indian daughter, Ifat Khan. Aphrodite Khan, with the help of Rani Krishna, approached the Mumbai International Airport and extracted a report of her departure from Bombay to Jeddah with her mother 12 years ago. The same airport also has two other records of her arrival at Mumbai International Airport. The first record showed that she traveled from Jeddah to Asmara via Mumbai and Manila. The second report showed her returning to India through Mumbai Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport over a year ago. With the three records in hand, the loving Hindu woman Rani Krishna took Aphrodite Khan to the Worli passport office and demanded the immediate reissue of Ifat Khan's passport. At first, they are met with some resistance. The officers refused to cooperate and demanded proof of her identity. But the wealthy Indian woman promised a few thousand rupees to the passport officials, and they suddenly became helpful. They informed them that their records showed that the 7-year-old Ifat Khan was illiterate and hence she used her thumbprint instead of a signature. All that remained, at that point, for Aphrodite Khan to prove that she was Ifat Khan is to fill out a passport application and use her thumbprint again. If the police can match the prints, her identity will be verified. It took the Mumbai police a couple of weeks to verify that the two separate thumbprints belonged to the same person. In due course, the Worli Passport Office reissued Aphrodite's passport. This time, it carried a current photo of the beautiful Iranian heroine. With proof of her identity and citizenship, they rushed to the Criminal Investigation Department and got the first charge against the Iranian heroine officially rejected, leaving her to deal with the remaining charge of defaming the greatest Bollywood film director, Mr. Mahmood Khan, and lying to police. Neither her lawyer nor her benevolent friend, Mrs. Rani Krishna, can stop her from going to jail regarding that charge. Mahmood Khan paid a lot of money to get the Iranian heroine thrown behind bars. Before Aphrodite Khan is tried and convicted, Mahmood Khan swore by his Allah and his Prophet Muhammad that he would not rest until he fractured the wings that he had created for the Iranian heroine, which allowed her to soar to the heights of the Bollywood industry. As he has predicted, and since he is a particularly good bribe paymaster, the Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan has been tried, convicted, and sentenced to 12 months in a rotten, filthy Indian women's jail cell for her so-called malicious attempt to defame the good reputation of the greatest Bollywood film director ever, Mr. Mahmood Khan. The corrupt judge of the criminal court said his verdict is final and irrevocable, and the convicted Iranian heroine Aphrodite Khan, alias of the Indian girl Ifat Khan, has no chance of appealing or applying for parole.